Hi, I'm Frank Hebert and I work at YWAM Gold Coast, Australia. So I'm staffing DTS yet again, and it actually starts in a week. So please be in prayer for me and the staff and the students as God disciples these students and renews their mind in the truth, and the truth will set them free. So it's been a little while since my last video update, and a lot of things have happened since then. So I'll just share a little bit. As I was back home in Canada, a lot of things happened. People were getting new mindsets about the truth about the gospel. People were reading the Bible for the first time. People were encountering the love of God, which was absolutely incredible, and I had the privilege to see that happen. And then even on the way coming back to Australia, crazy things happened. God gave me a new visa so I could get back here. I was talking to people on the plane about Jesus. People's mindsets even there were getting changed from God being this hard God of he'll take people's lives when he wants to God is a loving God. Since my travels, I've been back in Australia, and it's just been such a blessing being here. There's two cool stories that I want to share with you. There was one week where God told me to give away a certain amount of money, and it was quite a bit, and that was the rest of my money for food. And so I was just trusting in God and saying, God, you say to do this, so I'm going to trust in you, knowing that you are my provider and that you will provide for me the rest of this week with food. And so I gave it away. And so the next week I had no money for food. So I was trusting in God, and then God did his thing. The next day somebody was like, hey, can I take you out for a steak dinner? And I was like, come on, yeah. And then the next day somebody bought me pizza. The next day somebody bought me sushi. And it just kept going on and on for the rest of the week. And I did not starve. My Lord fed me every single day. It's just incredible what God does. And the other one is just last week, where God told me to give away all my money again. And yet again I was like, okay God, I'm going to trust you again for this week for food, and for actually 2 weeks, because I'm like, I don't have enough money. So trusting in God. And the next day, around supper time, my stomach starts getting really hungry, and I start envisioning this huge feast. And I'm like, man, God, you gotta stop this. I only have like 3 cans of meat left. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna eat it all in one night, and then I'll have nothing left for the rest of the 2 weeks, you know? And he's like, don't worry, I'm your provider. I will look after you. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna trust in you. And literally 5 minutes later, somebody comes up to me and gives me $200. And now I have enough money to eat for the next 2 weeks. Praise the Lord. Be frank is where I'm going to be frank with you of what God is doing in me personally. And for the last little bit, God has been really talking to me about certain areas. And there's a question I want to first start off with is there anything too hard for God? And most of you might say no. And the second question is there anything too hard for God to do through you? And that is the question. Because a lot of us start to be like, oh, I don't know. Because sometimes it is too hard. Sometimes things don't happen. People don't get healed. This doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. When Jesus prayed, it always worked. It always happened. Somebody got healed. Somebody raised from the dead. It always worked. It never did not happen. It never was like, Jesus was never like, what? It didn't work? No. It worked every single time. Because he believed in the Father. He was focused on the Father. He knew that it was always the Father's will. He always knew that he was doing what the Father did. And so my question for you is that if we truly believe that there is nothing too hard for God, then we should start walking it out. And you know what? Sometimes I don't do this. Sometimes I stumble in the area of belief, and I go to pray for somebody and I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna work. But if I truly believe, which I do, that there is nothing too hard for God, hopefully next video update, I'll be saying to you, I believe in every area where limbs will grow back, where the dead will rise, where things will just appear. Nothing is too hard for God. Thank you everyone who's supporting me financially and in prayer. Until next time, God bless.